We live in a paradoxical society where those with the most resources often depend on others to maintain their wealth and influence. Corporations receive government bailouts, wealthy individuals leverage their networks for business deals, and nepotism plays a significant role in economic mobility. Meanwhile, those lower in the socioeconomic hierarchy are told to just work harder and be self-reliant, with little to no access to the same safety nets that the privileged enjoy. Worse yet, there is societal shame around needing assistance. If you ask for help, you're lazy. If you don't work yourself to exhaustion, you lack ambition. But is this actually self-reliance? Or is it a way to maintain an economic system where only a select few benefit while others struggle? And what about social do-gooding? Even when help is extended, it's often filtered through the biases of the giver rather than shaped around the genuine needs of the recipient. Charitable initiatives, social programs, and rescue missions frequently carry implicit and explicit conditions. Those in need may be required to adopt specific lifestyles, adhere to moral codes imposed by donors, or participate in programs designed more to reflect the values of the benefactor rather than the autonomy of the beneficiary. Assistance becomes less about empowerment and more about compliance. Religious organizations, for instance, may require attendance at sermons in exchange for food aid. Government aid programs often come with bureaucratic hurdles that strip recipients of dignity, reinforcing societal stigmas about poverty. In this way, so-called altruism is weaponized as a tool of control, subtly coercing individuals into specific belief systems, economic roles, or behavioral expectations rather than truly liberating them from hardship. The answer may come from transcendentalism, more specifically Ralph Waldo Emerson. Transcendentalism was a philosophical and literary movement that emerged in the early 19th century in America as a reaction against religious dogma and the growing materialism of industrial society. Rooted in the belief that individuals should seek truth and wisdom from personal intuition and nature rather than societal institutions, Transcendentalism emphasized self-exploration, spiritual depth, and intellectual independence. So let's turn to Emerson's essay, Self-Reliance. Emerson argued that true self-reliance is about personal authenticity and independence from societal expectations. He wrote, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." His work was a call to reject conformity and trust in one's own intuition and abilities. But Emerson also understood that self-reliance was not just about survival. It was about thriving without being beholden to the opinions and structures imposed by society. Emerson's teachings in Self-Reliance emphasize the idea that each person possesses an inner genius that should be nurtured and expressed without fear of societal disapproval. He wrote, "Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string." By this he meant that individuals must develop unwavering faith in their own instincts and convictions rather than seeking validation from external authorities. His philosophy encouraged nonconformity, urging people to resist societal pressures that demand obedience and uniformity. He challenged the idea of collective morality, stating, "Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist." To Emerson, true self-reliance was not just about personal survival, but about thriving by embracing one's individuality and unique perspectives, even if they went against conventional wisdom. Moreover, he saw self-reliance as deeply tied to spiritual and intellectual independence. He believed that institutions, whether religious, governmental, or academic, often restricted personal growth by imposing standardized ways of thinking. He asserted, "Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind." In other words, True wisdom and fulfillment come from within, not from blindly following traditions or societal norms. However, this philosophy raises a crucial question. How does one practice self-reliance while still engaging in a society that often punishes those who step outside its norms? Can you be self-reliant and still participate in polite society? The answer lies in self-sufficiency. True self-reliance isn't about complete isolation. It's about creating a system where you are not completely dependent on forces beyond your control. This means developing skills, reducing reliance on exploitative institutions, and making decisions that align with your own values rather than societal pressure. So here are some things we can do. Develop practical survival and trade skills. Learn essential skills like growing food, cooking from scratch, basic home and auto repairs, first aid, and self-defense. Master a trade or craft like carpentry, sewing, coding, welding, to reduce reliance on external services and create self-sufficiency. Create multiple income streams. Avoid total dependence on a single employer by developing freelance work, investments, passive income, or starting a small business. Learn financial literacy, including budgeting, investing, and wealth building strategies to break free from paycheck to paycheck living. Reduce reliance on consumerism and debt. Adopt a minimalist mindset by prioritizing needs over wants and resisting corporate-driven consumption habits. Avoid unnecessary debt by living within your means, using cash or debit over credit, and building an emergency fund for unexpected expenses. Build a like-minded and supportive community. Connect with others who share self-reliance values, forming a network where skills, resources, and support can be exchanged without reliance on exploitative systems. Engage in mutual aid and cooperative ventures to create shared independence without hierarchical dependence. And lastly, strengthen mental and emotional resilience. Cultivate critical thinking to question mainstream narratives, media propaganda, and societal conditioning. Practice emotional self-sufficiency through mindfulness, self-reflection, and setting personal boundaries to avoid manipulation by external pressures.